The GoGo offense is one of my favorite offensive schemes and philosophies in the entire country. You're probably not going to see it at the NFL level for quite some time, although you're seeing some philosophies be implemented at the professional level, but it's going to be a lot more common at the collegiate level. This is an offense curated and built from the ground from a guy named Brennan Marion. He was a wide receivers coach, I believe, at Pitt when Jordan Addison was going crazy. Then he goes to Texas, and now he is the offensive coordinator at UNLV. And as he was someone that was very coveted, at least when it came to Texas and me living around that area, that's when I found out who Brennan Marion was, and I've kind of kept a track of his career up to this point. And now at UNLV, with the eyes of the nation on them tonight, this Friday against Boise State, everyone's going to be watching Ashton Jeanty, and for fair reason. I will be watching the GoGo offense in effect because it's my favorite offense in college football 25, and I really want to walk you through what you're going to potentially be watching tonight. And honestly, I think when we're looking at this offensive coordinator in Brennan, I think he's a future head coach. I think this dude is set up to be one of those offensive gurus, and I want to see his offensive philosophy work at a larger school because right now at UNLV, they're the 5th rated offense in the country, 40 plus points per game. It is remarkable to watch. And I think when I explain through the philosophy and why Brennan runs this offense the way that it does and what makes it so unique, I think a lot of other people are going to become fans, as this is going to be their first time probably watching UNLV football. But before we dive in, I'm only going to ask you one thing. Just give me a chance to talk football with you. You've already clicked on this video hearing the self-promo, shameless plug. Just give me another opportunity to talk football with you. Whether it's a like, a comment, a subscribe, anything across the board means the world to me. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, something I set as a goal at the beginning of the year, and we have gotten so close. So it would mean the world if you gave me an opportunity to talk football with you. But let's dive into the GoGo offense. Now, what makes the GoGo offense so unique at UNLV is the formations, in my opinion, the creativity. Now, the philosophy behind it is primarily a downfield rushing attack and making sure you utilize these running backs as well as the quarterback in these rushing looks. And I'm going to walk through some of those formations in a minute. But before I do that, because it's going to be a little weird, a little different, I want you to understand why they are doing what they're doing. When we are talking about adding another running back into the backfield, what does that do for a defense? It either brings someone into the box because that's another rusher that you have to account for, and the linebackers have to watch where these two guys go. That's who they have to be the most worried about. And so that's why a lot of times you will see a lot of motion with 2 running back sets, because it forces that front 7 to shift their run fits. Not only that, a lot of what the GoGo offense is predicated on in the passing attack is downfield shots. So it's literally trying to condense and space out a defense all at the same time, which makes it very difficult to stop. And a couple of the staple plays are option looks, because when you have the 2 running backs in, you're more than likely going to have the option to do an RPO, a run pass option, a triple option, especially at the collegiate game. That unique formation and skill set makes a defense who could have been facing an air raid, a West Coast offense, the more traditional and common formations. Now they're throwing their entire game script out the window to deal with what UNLV presents. And that's a core staple of what Brennan Marion wants to bring. When you go look at videos of what he has verbalized, he's made books and videos about this. If you want more context after watching this, feel free to. I went down a rabbit hole to truly understand his perspective in curating this offense, that he has a chain. I mean, he has a chain that says GoGo, and he wears it to every game. Now, that's a coach I want to go play for, but the core of it is being able to basically force a defensive coordinator, very much like the Naval Academies, that creativity and that option look to be able to run the ball effectively, make defenses come up and be able to take a shot downfield. It's a more modernized version of that. I'm not saying they're running the old school triple option. It's far from it, but that creativity to stand out amongst the rest causes headaches for so many defensive coordinators. So let me walk you through some of the common formations that you're going to see. Now, let's just get the offensive line out of the way. You're going to have just, here you go. We'll put the X out here. Let's put the Z out here and the Y. I'm not going to be worried about who's off the ball, on the ball right now. This is primarily going to be talking about the backfield. So let's have quarterback and then your first H-back. Now, traditionally, we are missing a piece. Obviously, you got 7 right here, 3 on the outside. That's 10. We have 11 on the field. Where does a 2-back set tend to be? Most times, football tells you they got to be split between the quarterback. One on his left, one on his right. And if you wanted to run, say, a triple option, you would take him outside, and the first read would be right on this defender, and he would crash in, and he would pitch, and then it becomes an option to the outside. That's traditional football. What we tend to get in the GoGo offense to make it different, and I think a real good way for people to truly understand this is if you have College Football 25, go play as UNLV, go try their playbook out. You'll really get to understand the depth of what some of these formations can do, because the creativity starts right here. It starts right here. I think when we get to the 2 halfback set and what that can do to a defense changes the game. This is so unique to me. This entire look right here is what I fell in love with the GoGo offense. It's what makes it stand out, because now that triple option look that people are used to now becomes the same old read man, come in, but the option is now extended out, and then you have the quarterback who can run around. Obviously, he would crash down. But why? What's the difference between grabbing that H-back that was right here or right here and moving him next to the halfback? What's the point of that? Well, it's really having to play the numbers on a defense and playing the odds of weak and strong sides. You get the balance, and yes, you do get this in the GoGo offense. You can have the normal split set, and this is more of a strong look to the right side because you have the extra receiver right here. This would be the strong side with the weak side being right here. But now the numbers game becomes even more interesting when you have the extra halfback on the strong side, because now you go from now 2 people and it's ultra weak. You can run counters to the left side, and now you're forcing the defense to completely worry about this half of the field in a completely new way, because you now have 1, 2, 3, 4 on that right side. And with how football works, and you have so many quick decisions to make in a split of a second, having a guy have to come around here versus already being the pitchman to the wide side makes all the world of a difference. When I say the word go-go, what do you think of? Just taking football out of it. You think of the repetition of the same word in a very quick matter. That's kind of the essence and the theme of what they want to run when we're talking about tempo in an offense, especially in a modern game. Tempo becomes such a big thing in football. And Brennan Marion states it himself when he's talking about the foundations of the GoGo offense. Is very simply put, he wants to create a 5th quarter, not an overtime, a 5th quarter within the 4-quarter range, running enough snaps to where that first 3-yard gain in the first quarter turns into a 5-yard gain by the 4th quarter. You're wearing down on them because it is a downfield attack. And you're also wanting to bring safeties up or someone into the box so that you even the odds on the outside. I think a lot of Vanderbilt, in the sense of what they did to Alabama, the announcers talked about it time and time again with the New Mexico State offense, which has a lot of triple option looks. They want to get those short gains. That's the point of the offense. So those safeties creep up to the line of scrimmage, and then you take a shot downfield. That's why you need a quarterback to be able to execute and get the ball out accurately to deep threats on the outside. Because if you have 2 halfbacks in the backfield, you are limiting your options on the outside. But if you have a quarterback that can get those extra yards, that's why having a mobile quarterback is another rushing threat. You then have 3 rushing threats that could all potentially go to the right side. So now you have all the numbers. You could run counter. It is such a pain in the rear to defensive coordinators to deal with this offense. They get 40 points a game for a reason. Now, I really hope that UNLV plays good against Boise State, because if they get shut out, this video is going to look pretty rough. But I still believe at the core, Brennan Marion's a future head coach. And I got to talk about UNLV in general. Having Sluka, a coveted transfer quarterback, leave the building middle of the season, UNLV and Barry Odom, and what he's been able to do with that program is remarkable. Then you have this Sluka situation where an NIL dispute turns a promising season into limbo, into the gray area of uncertainty. And Malik Williams, the backup quarterback, a senior who has been playing college football since 2019, every single year except for this one, has not been with FBS teams. It was Campbell University, who has, I believe their mascot is camels, which, fun fact. And Malik Williams has just taken over this offense. They have so many great offensive weapons. They play sound football across the board, and it just warms my heart knowing that there's been just a seamless transition. And that goes to Barry Odom's culture at UNLV, and that goes to the scheme that Brennan Marion has that is so quarterback friendly. If you can have the legs to execute it and be able to push the ball downfield, listen, they could lose to Boise State because Ashton Jeanty is just that scary of a player. He's the best player arguably in college football. That's fine. But I got to give so much respect for this scheme. It's one of those things where, like, I nerded out, man. Like, when I play college football, it's my go-to playbook. And I'm so excited for people to see it in live action. I hope they score 70, win or lose, because this scheme is so unique, and I think it's refreshing when you find an offensive coordinator who's young, who's projected to get a head coach opportunity within the next 2 years. And listen, man, it's one of those things. It's like when you find an underground artist and you want to see them flourish and get better. Like, listen, I get it. A lot of people know who Brennan Marion is, like probably even back when he was a wide receiver coach at Pitt. But I'm a big fan of that scheme, and I hope it catches on, because the formations are unique, and the philosophy is one of those things that if I was a head coach, I'd get with that. Getting 4 yards every time and taking a shot downfield and being a power, almost like a power option spread. I know I'm throwing a bunch of like buzzwords, but there's no real philosophy to put this into a box, because not only was that formation like a core of it, they also have normal spread looks. They have different formations in the pistol that are still really good. And I got to give it credit. I'm sorry, I had to nerd out on a video one time. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch Rush the Field today. Like I said, just give me an opportunity to talk football with you, whether it's a like, a comment, subscribe, anything across the board. It means the world to me. And I will see you guys next time.